Raymond Lyman. Mrs. Catelli, 2 weeks ago, my friend Max and I wrote 2 letters, 5-page letters, one to the Federal Attorney General and one to the ACLU about this mayor and the city council, 4 of these city council members, violation of civil rights. Not Mrs. Evans, but the other 4. You took our rights away with this ridiculous 4 minutes, fighting with people, not giving us answers, and telling people you're out of order. Ridiculous. I'm waiting for a response for the Federal Attorney General and the ACLU. And once I get that, I'm going to find out what to do with the Federal Attorney General. And then I'm going to talk to my lawyer about possible. Every time I come up here, you're always saying I'm out of order. Well, I'm going to think about suing the city about that. Violation of my civil rights. Because I think it's kind of ridiculous. Now, I want to ask a few questions. Mrs. Catelli, you said a couple of weeks ago, now I don't want you screaming and hollering at me, but I tape every meeting since the city council started. But you said now that your husband wasn't running for office.
Oh.
But in the newspaper...
My husband, you can call my husband and ask him, okay?
Oh, I talked to your husband.
Yeah, we'll call him and ask him. I have nothing to do with his
Your husband said if I wrote...
decision.
Okay, wait, Mrs. Catelli. If I wrote on his petition that my street could have got plowed...
You're a liar.
I'm not a liar.
Your husband doesn't even know you.
He didn't know who I was.
Ask you.
He did not know who I was, Mrs.
You're
Catelli.
lying. Please.
Once he knew my name, he didn't want my name on his petition.
Oh.
Mrs. Catelli. Once he knew who I was...
Mr. Lyman.
You calling me a liar?
I'm calling you a liar.
Well, you could call me a liar what you want, but he wanted my name on his petition when he was running.
Very inappropriate to say those
Well,
things.
you could say that. But he said if I had his name on his petition, I could have my street plowed
Oh, really?
and Capous Avenue paved.
Oh, that's great.
That's what he said.
That's great. Did you sign it?
No.
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 You didn't want the street paved that bad then, did you?
No. Because I'm waiting for when Lee Morgan and Annie Sparaglia take over Bill Cartwright's seat and Mr. McGruff to get rid of those 2. Mr. Cartwright, I have a couple of questions to ask you. Mr. Cartwright, you remember when you voted, and you can answer this after I sit down.
3 minutes.
Your time is up.
Well, I want to ask these questions.
Your time is up.
Well, no, I'm going to ask these questions.
Out of order, Mr. Lyman.
No, I'm going to ask these questions, Mrs.
Lyman.
Catelli. Well, I'm going to ask these questions.
Please stop.
Mr.
You're
Cartwright.
out of order.
Do you remember the
Officer.
5.5, Mr.
Would you please remove him? Now, this is the second time.
Well, I'm going to file a lawsuit.
Go ahead, file all the lawsuits you want.
And I want
Time
to see him
is
arrest
up.
me.
Your
Let me
time
see if him arrest me.
You need to respect everyone else.
Oh, I want to see him arrest me.
They need a turn.
I want to see him arrest me on TV. I want to see him arrest me. No, I want to see him arrest me. I want to see him arrest me. You going to have me arrested, Mrs. Catelli?
I told you to get away from the podium. Your time is
I want to see
up.
you arrest me on TV.
Turn the cameras off.
Raymond, please, come on.
I want
No,
to see
tell
him
them to
arrest
turn
me.
the cameras off. You're not going to have this on tape.
And then I will file a lawsuit with the city of Scranton, violation of my civil rights.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Raymond Lyman.
I didn't quite hear you right. Could you state your name again, please?
Raymond Lyman.
So Jane hears you. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Number one, why do we have the sign-in sheet again? We didn't have it at the beginning when you took office as president. Brian, can you answer that question?
Well, I'm the one that reinstituted it, so if Brian would like to speculate.
Okay.
I just thought it worked well during the some of the
I
longer
liked it when
meetings
we didn't
had.
have it.
Well,
I want
well,
it back the way it was.
I appreciate your comment, Ray, but
I want it
for the
back
time
the way
being,
it
I'm going
was.
to go with it. I'm going to go with it, buddy.
I want to go back the way it was.
I don't.
Well, I want it the way it was.
Okay.
So I want it the way it was.
I understand.
But we'll do it the way it was.
No, we won't.
Yes, we will.
Ray, okay.
I'm a taxpayer. We'll do it the way...
Do you have anything else, Ray?
Okay, and we got a couple other stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
2 weeks ago, I didn't like it what you did. I mean, Mr. Reed, Mr. Gahulio, I liked it what you two did. Voted against it, against the recovery plan. That was good. That recovery plan was ridiculous. That was the most ridiculous plan ever advised. That mayor, he don't know what the hell is he doing. They could have did something else. They could have went back with the state, with the union, and started again. The unions should file every lawsuit and stiff it and teach you guys a lesson. I mean, look at the Terriani fire that just happened Saturday. What if 5 or 6 firemen got killed? And now this recovery plan went. What if that was Redner's and there were people in that Redner's? What if those people were there and they were trapped? And those families were shopping and they were trapped and they got killed. You're responsible. You are.
I don't agree with you.
You are responsible because you passed that recovery plan. Because you fired firemen and then you were going to hire stinking...
We did not fire firemen.
You are going to hire like those Greenwood firemen, part-timers that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Ray, you're out of order. You're out of order. I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Because I know Greenwood firemen.
Out of order, Ray.
I know them.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to collect yourself, or I'm going to ask you to step down.
Okay, Kevin.
Please, be a gentleman.
Kevin, I know Greenwood firemen. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Please step down. You're out of order. Step down, Ray.
Kevin.
Next speaker.
Kevin,
please.
Just listen to me.
Ray.
Just one second.
You're out of order. Please step down. Next speaker, please.
Raymond Lyman. Some people ask me the reason why I wasn't coming to these meetings. And the reason why I wasn't coming to these meetings was because I got a letter from City Council. The reason why I wasn't coming to these meetings was because I got a letter from President Judy Catelli and Emma Menor saying that...
You never got a letter from me.
Well, I did get a letter from...
Show it to me because I want to see who's forging my name.
Well, I'll bring it next week.
I never sent you a letter.
I'll bring it next week.
I want a copy of the letter.
Because I got it with my letter from my lawyer.
Did you bring it with you?
I didn't bring it today.
Who's your lawyer?
I'll bring it next week.
Who's your lawyer? I'll contact him and get it from him.
I'll bring it next week.
Who's your lawyer? I'll contact him and get it from him.
Edward Pulaski.
Pulaski. Where's his office?
Down. He has one in Peckville and one down here on Luzerne and Lackawanna Avenue. I'll bring it down.
And he has a copy of that letter, you say?
He has the original.
He has the original of that letter?
Letter that was sent to me.
Okay. I'll get it from him.
No, I'll bring it down.
It's okay. I'll get it from him.
I'll bring it down. Now, I'm not fighting with you. I don't want... and I have a question. Why is this cop doing here?
He's here to maintain decorum and order.
Because my lawyer said, if you call the cops on me again, because when I was out here the last time...
Mr. Lyman, hold it.
No,
I am not doing this again.
No, I'm not fighting.
I don't want to fight. We did not send you a letter to keep you from the meetings.
You're cutting into my 5 minutes. Can I speak?
I'll give you your 5 minutes back.
Okay.
But I'm not going to let you stand there and discredit me or anyone else or the attorney. That is not the truth. If you got a letter, then somebody forged our name. And I told you that on several occasions already. I did not send you a letter not to come here. And Attorney Minora just told you he did not send you a letter to come here. So if indeed you got one, someone wrote it to you and forged our names.
On city council letterhead?
Well, that's very serious.
On
And
city
they will
council
be
letterhead.
arrested for doing that.
That's the question.
They will be arrested for fraud. And I will go
Because
right
I showed
to the
it to
magistrate.
I also showed it to my friend Dave, the state trooper. He thinks it's kind of suspicious
Yes, I think it's very suspicious.
because
No letters go out of city council stationery unless Mrs. Garvey types them.
and it was typed and signed.
Well, she does all the typing.
I'll-
Mrs.
I'll-
Garvey,
I'll-
did you type a letter to Mr. Lyman?
No, I didn't, and I don't believe Neil or Sue did either.
Well, I'll bring it down and I'll just show
You
it.
bring it, and we will prosecute the offenders to the
I'll bring
fullest.
it down, and my lawyer will bring it down.
Would you be willing to give a handwriting sample
Hey, I'll write my name right now.
when you bring the letter?
I'll bring the letter because I didn't sign it,
Didn't say you did.
and I'm not lying. Because I was intimidated, just like when I went out here that day and the cop threatened to beat me up.
Ray,
Hey, no cop threatened to beat you up.
He didn't?
No.
You think I'm lying? You think I'm lying?
Yeah.
You calling me a liar?
I do not think a cop threatened to beat you
what
up.
was his name?
What was the officer's name?
I don't know who that cop's name was that was here that day.
Well, we'll find out, and
You,
we'll
you
ask him
can't
if
you
he
can't come here and say that, Ray.
I'm only saying the truth. I was intimidated. That's why I wasn't here. I wanted to sue the city of Scranton. Because I know the truth. I took it to two of your friends, and they said it was your name on it.
Well, it wasn't, Mr. Lyman.
Hey, you could say that it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Because I was
It wasn't
intimidated.
Attorney
My
Minora's.
mother was
Ray,
sickly.
you're out
and
of
was
order.
angry.
Sit down. Get away from the podium and sit down.
No.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr., you're not being
Go
acknowledged
ahead,
right
Mr.
now by
Murphy.
this
The
council.
problem is you haven't answered the
Does not
question.
acknowledge you, Mr. Bolus, at this time. Officer, remove him immediately.
Mr. Murphy, you have to earn it, and you better earn that question.
Thank you very much, officer.
No, thank you, Mr. Murphy, and I'll be back, and I'll expect my answers.
Next speaker, please. From the meeting.
Excuse me? Where's the secretary?
You're removed from this meeting. Please have him removed, sir.
Excuse me, under the rules of council, Mr. Murphy, is that unanimous?
Next speaker, please.
No. Okay.
Officer.
Raymond Lyman.
Thank you. What's your last name, Raymond?
Raymond Lyman. I want to talk about what happened last week and how I didn't like the way the council did to Bob Bolus. I thought it was atrocious. I mean, you had students from the high school and you had students from the college, and I thought that was disgusting to show students like that, politicians, do stuff like that in front of, to do stuff like that, made me sick. I mean, you were supposed to be respected in office by elected officials, by the people, for the people, not to think that you're dictators. I mean, 60 years ago, we got rid of Hitler, but yet, you think that you could boss a man like Bob Bolus because he asked you a question. I mean, he asked you a question, you should have answered that question. Not sit there and be quiet. I mean, I'm not insulting you, Chris. You know what I mean? I'm just giving my opinion. I mean, we elected you. I mean, you're not a king. And you got to remember that. Because the election is coming up, and we could vote you out. And I also got a problem in Pinebrook. We got a light that's by Philbin's Garage on New Street and Lord's Court. You know one of those main lights?
Okay, yes.
That's burned out.
Okay.
I was just told about that.
We'll make sure we get a note out to
I just found out about that today. But
Okay.
I still think that was rotten because a lot of those students, and friends of mine who go to the university said that was rotten. And I thought that wasn't right. I mean, you're politicians and you shouldn't do stuff like that. Because, you know, you look at a politician, you look at great men like Kennedy. And people like Kennedy would never do something like that. Insult someone like that. You're supposed to respect a person and you're supposed to honor a person. That's what I was taught. And I was taught with the Bible. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir.
Raymond Lyman. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I said that I had a letter from the Federal Attorney General's office in the ACLU, and you guys laughed at me? And now I see in today's paper, the ACLU was in the paper about Judy Catelli and Emil Minor. Oh, it's a surprise that Mr. Minor, Miss Catelli's not here. Who's the liar now? Who's the liar now, Mrs. Finucci?
Okay, Ray, let's
Hey, I have a right to speak.
let's
You can't stop me.
Raymond, calm down.
And I have a question. Let me speak. Where does it say in the Constitution that people can only speak for 5 minutes? Ask your
It's not in
lawyer.
it's not in the Constitution.
No,
Ray.
in the Constitution you could speak as long as you want. And this rules of council does not exist. I can speak as long as I want.
Raymond.
The Constitution outrights any law in the land.
Raymond, please.
Federal Attorney General, Mr. Johnson told me, and
Talk to the Federal Attorney General?
that's what the letter told me.
Oh, I thought you said he told you.
No, well, in the letter,
Oh, okay.
because Mr. Gonzalez is the Federal Attorney General.
Okay.
And in the letter it said, the Constitution outranks the law of the land. And I will get a copy from the library, and I will show our hack of a...
Oh, no. Raymond, you cannot say that.
Hey, I'll say what I want.
No, you can't,
It's
Raymond.
freedom of speech.
You can't call him that. It's not right, Raymond.
Well,
Come on.
I'll say what I want. He's not here.
Yeah, and that's true. He's not here to defend himself. Don't call him names,
But
Raymond.
hey, you said every time I come here I'm out of order and no one else. And I have a right to say what I want.
I never said you were out of order. I said...
Oh, but the Queen Mother did.
Oh, you can't do that, Raymond. You can't say those names about people.
And the
Please.
Constitution says I could say what I want.
It does not, Raymond. You
And the rules of council does not exist.
Raymond,
The
Raymond,
Constitution
hold on for one
outranks freedom of speech.
hold on for 1 second. We adopt rules of council every 2 years.
I don't care about the rules of
Well, you
council.
have to care because they're the rules. You got to go by the rules.
The Constitution outranks rules of city council.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you, Raymond. Go ahead, continue.
Because the Federal Attorney General told me in the letter. And now you have the ACLU going after you. And he should tell you, because you'll be sitting in jail.
You won't be sitting in jail.
Well, when you have the Federal Attorney General, they had 2 guys in suits coming around now. And there was one of them here that day taking photos, not just the ACLU.
Raymond, how about changing the subject, all right? You're getting confrontational here. We don't want that.
Speech. And it outranks that 5 minutes. I could speak as long as I want.
You cannot speak as long as
Catelli
you want.
said to me the last time I was here, when she was mayor, she could pave the road. Well, I thought that was an insult to me. When all her friends got their streets paved, hey, I'm a taxpayer. I like my street paved.
I'd like mine paved, too.
Well, you have a business. You could pave your sidewalk and your street. You have a business. You could do it yourself, not ask Mr. Konjorski and make my taxpayers pay for it. My taxes. I like to have my street paved, not with year after year after year, and it's never done. There's sidewalks on Capellas Avenue all the way down to the rebar, and disabled people in wheelchairs like this poor old lady, they have to go on the road. In my neighborhood, they don't deserve to go on the road. They could go on the sidewalk, but they can't. Every year they do that. We deserve to be treated like human beings, not like animals. And every time I come up here, I talk to the wall. I don't deserve that. I deserve to be treated like a human being, not like the Queen Mother up there, Judy
Raymond,
Cattell.
I'm not going to allow you to. Next time you say that, you're going to be out of order. You can't be calling people names. Now, that's
Well,
it.
She
That's
treats
it.
me like an animal.
She's not even here. Please.
Every time when she's here, she hollers at me like a
You
dog.
speak to her when she's here.
When I was here the last time when we were being searched, the junior consul got through because they
right.
said, as I quote,
Raymond,
they were member of government and we were
Your
all
time is up,
outside
Raymond. You gotta
and
sit
we
down.
were being searched.
All right, your time's up, Raymond.
Well, the 5 minutes doesn't matter to
You have
me.
to, Raymond, you have to sit down.
Well,
Your
maybe
time-
I should talk to Mr. Johnson. of
Well,
the
you talk to him, but for right now, you got to.
office again.
For right now, you got to step
When they
down,
come,
Raymond. Your time's up.
I'll talk to the ACLU again,
That's-
and let's see
Raymond.
when they come after you and the
Raymond,
city
your
council
time's up, buddy.
members,
Sit
see
down.
how you guys don't like it again.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No one. Come on. Okay. If there's no one else, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Proof that I'm a failure as a social studies teacher.
Thank you.
What drainage ditch are you referring to,
On
Raymond?
Lord's Court and Phelps Street.
North Court and Phelps Street.
Yeah, the 300 block of Phelps Street and Lord's Court.
Did we get a response on that yet?
No, that was sent down, no response yet.
They went out and they looked at it, but they never fixed it, and it flooded.
Where's Phelps? Is that Pine Brook?
Okay, let's make sure that we get a letter down to George Parker and see that he addresses that issue.
Now, there's a
again.
senior citizen old lady who lives there, and her basement flooded it. Now, I think it's ridiculous. That should have been fixed. Now, you had all that time, you could have fixed it. All that
I
time,
apologize
you could have
on the DPW's behalf, but there's a lot of problems in the city of
you could have
Scranton.
fixed it.
And I'm
Could have
sure they
fixed it.
addressed them on a priority as needed basis. And
Now,
I'm sure they'll
I
address this in
have, I
the
have other things I want to discuss.
same manner.
Now,
You're welcome to, Ray.
I went to, last week, I went to a Dunmore council meeting. And their wage tax is going up. I'm not going to say how much it is, but ours is what, 3.4? Theirs is going past 3.4. Now, I want you guys to vote to knock down our wage tax down from 3.4 to 1.2. If we do that, we could get business in this city. I mean, that should be done once and for all, not all this ridiculous talk.
There would be no lights on the building right now if that were the case.
I don't think so. I think it could be done.
I
I
understand your
think business
concern, and
could
that's
come here.
it's a goal.
I mean, business could be here. I went to that meeting. They're raising the property tax. They're raising the school tax a tenfold compared to what we have. Now, what else I saw that's different from the city of Scranton council? Now, I'm from the city of Scranton. They let me talk at theirs. If a person from Moscow couldn't come here and talk. But see, they don't have a 5-minute rule. Now, I'm wondering, why do we have to have a 5-minute rule? I talk for 25 minutes there. I could even talk longer. Where does it say in the state of Pennsylvania Constitution where there's a 5-minute rule? Or the founding of Scranton where there's a 5-minute rule? I looked in the library. There is no 5-minute rule. No history of a council law there is a 5-minute rule. You show me the law. Come on, Mr. Murphy, where's the law?
That's the rule of this council.
I mean, where's the
we allow
law?
everyone
There
5
is no
minutes.
law, so there should be no 5-minute rule. Hold that clock, Mr. Winter.
Whoa, excuse me, Mr. President.
Ray, you're getting a little off base here. You're not running the meeting, and you're not to dictate to Mr. Wintermail what his duties and responsibilities are.
I am a taxpayer. I have a right to say what I want to say.
No.
You could say what you'd like to say within certain
I can say what I want to
parameters.
say because I dictate it.
No.
I pay
no, you
your
don't.
salary.
You don't.
You don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do.
Mr. President,
You're out of
I would
order,
ask
Ray.
that he be removed.
You're out of order,
Okay,
Ray.
okay. I'm not tolerating that.
Please, just try to get back on focus.
Kevin, I'm just saying, where does it say in the law there's a 5-minute rule? I just want to see it in black and white. Just show me in black and white where there's a 5-minute rule. Where does it say, with all your signatures,
It doesn't have to be in the law. It's the rules of council. The rules of council.
but you have to have it in paper.
Ray, could you give him the time to please explain?
The rules of council are lawfully adopted by this body. Then it becomes law. The rules of council say there's a 5-minute rule. That's in our rules. If you want to see a copy of the rules, I'm sure Gene Hickey will show it to you.
You have a copy, Mr. Wintermeadow?
You have 1 minute left.
Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Ray,
Give me a free copy?
Ray, please. You're to address this council and not Mr.
Kevin,
Wintermail,
can you give me a
please.
free copy of that?
We would be happy to make them available to you.
I want to see it.
Yeah, we'd be happy
I
to
want
do
to
that.
see this.
But please, you're a gentleman. You always come here and conduct
Yeah,
yourself in
but I
an
want
orderly
to see
fashion.
this because I went up to Dunmore, and they told me that they shouldn't have it. Now, they are angry about their council. I said, your council isn't as bad as our council.
Yeah, but all of this is irrelevant.
Our council is
basically.
worse. I mean, they insult us. They belittle us. They don't give us respect. I mean, there's supposed to be 7 council members instead of 5.
That's incorrect, Ray.
Well, the history of Scranton says there's supposed to be 7.
Your time is up, Mr. Lyman.
Raymond Lyman. Yeah, I got questions on from 5F to 5I about the subpoenas. Mrs. Evans, and you might answer this, and then let me speak to 3 minutes. You did on the subpoenas. Wasn't it from 2001 to 2007 that you want all financial records from the Doherty office and all the departments, yes or no?
Yes and no. Actually, I said from January 2002
Oh, 2002.
to date. Mm-hmm.
And isn't it true that since Finucci wasn't here, they all voted, all 4 of us voted, and it was passed. So why are you guys voting now? And because Emil Minor doesn't want to do his job.
Excuse me, that's out of order. That is out of order.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Minor does what council requests of him.
But you did pass it, Mrs. Catelli.
It was passed in a motion which was not the legal way to pass it. We had to do it with the resolution.
But you 4 did vote, and Emil and Kay said yes, and because I have the tape, and it was passed. And since Finucci wasn't here, and you guys said that you were going to do it, because I tape every meeting, and it was passed, and it should have went through.
Well, now it spells out exactly what we're looking for.
Well,
These resolutions.
So it's not his fault. It's Chris Doherty. He should have did it weeks ago. It should have been passed weeks ago. So it's still his fault, in my opinion. So it might be my opinion and 67,000 people's opinions. Mr. Minor should resign, in my opinion.
Oh, please, Mr. Lyman. He is not a public official.
Well,
Please refrain from those comments.
You know what, Mr. Lyman? Don't hold your breath.
Well, if Lee Morgan and Annie Sparagula does become consul, you have to resign then.
Mr. Lyman, I think your time is up.
Well, the 3 minutes ain't up yet.
You're done as far as I'm concerned. You're out of order.
Well, the next time...
Out of order.
Well, the next time I come up, I can speak
Well,
again.
good. You're out of order.
Well,
Next speaker, please. Please don't talk from the audience.
Ms. Catelli, can I ask our guest a question?
No, she's not here to answer questions. You can talk to her after the meeting.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question to ask
Be
her.
here for a couple minutes.
I'll ask you a question to ask her a question.
Sure.
Ms. Catelli, a question for Mrs. Verna. She's if I'm not correct, she's a council president for Harrisburg's council. Well, the question is, since she's city council for Harrisburg, since she's city council of Harrisburg City Council, since we here in our city council, since you harass us and treat us like, I'm not going to say this, but since you treat us like an animal, like
Mr. Lyman.
Oh, I'm speaking.
Mr. Lyman.
I got 5 minutes. Don't cut me off. And
All right,
Neil saw the two people who were with me yesterday. They were from the ACLU. And the question is to her, since you took the cameras out, you faked with death threats, you almost had me arrested, I had to call the ACLU, and I will file a lawsuit against the city council and mayor. And I did get a response from the federal attorney general. And I'm tired of being threatened.
Do you have your response? Do you have a copy of that?
At the house.
Can you bring it to us so that
I will bring it, and I'll bring it, and I will bring copies of the letter.
Could you also bring that letter you talked about the last time that Attorney Menorah was looking for? From your lawyer?
No, I sent it to the federal attorney general's office.
Well, Attorney Menorah wanted to look at it.
Well, he's the one, and you and him wrote the letter and sent it on city council letterhead. Why would I have to send it back to you?
We're not going to go through this again. You never got a letter from us. We're not going to go through this again.
Well, you guys sent it to me. Why would I have to send it?
You want to start again? Get me a copy of that.
Well, this is my time to speak. Can I speak?
Is this going to be on YouTube tonight? Yeah. At least we make national news.
Ms. Catelli, are you insulting me? Can I speak?
You can say whatever you want, Ray.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Now, Ms. Craig spoke about the Scranton Times on NCC, about that letter about people losing their houses. Now, we must talk about the Rinaldis, the Naples, and all these other people who owe back taxes. Why don't you go after them? Kevin Murphy's mother.
Excuse me, but
who didn't pay for years.
You can't talk about anyone else at the council meeting.
Well, these people owe back taxes.
Bring it here and prove that they owe back taxes. You bring those papers here and we'll do something about it.
They owe money.
Well, go find out what they owe and bring it here.
Councilman, I'm not in political power.
Well, you cannot.
Just an average person.
You cannot discredit some other.
Well, then maybe I should run for city council.
That's a good idea.
People told me I should run. I think I will run for office.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe I should run against you.
That's a good idea.
And if I run, I will not raise taxes and treat people like dogs and take the cameras out. And if I ran for office, one thing for sure, I won't lie and say death threats and say, oh, I'm scared, and run out there and fake tears in my eyes and do that.
You ran when the policeman came, though, didn't you?
No, I didn't run. No, I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did.
I wanted the cops to arrest me so I could file a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know you did.
That's right.
Saw it on YouTube.
Because one thing, Ms. Catelli, the tape showed it was only 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And I showed the tape to the two people from the ACLU. And it was only 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And Mr. Menorah lied. He said it was 3 minutes. So he perjured himself.
Well, we'll all be at Allenwood together, Emil. We'll start a racquetball club.
So, Mrs. Catelli, I got one more question. Since all the South Side was paved, Why can't I have Capellas Avenue? For years, I asked Capellas Avenue to be paved. Why can I not have Capellas Avenue paved?
I don't know. Maybe when I'm the mayor, I'll pave it for you.
It doesn't need the mayor of Scranton to be paved. You guys always have all these other streets paved, like Elm Street, Boulevard Avenue, all of North Main Avenue, all the way up to
Those
Dixon
were all
City.
K streets. And your time is up. Sit down,
Time
please.
is up.
No.
Mrs. Schumacher? It's your turn. I'm like Sherry, I'm laughing today. I mean, how long can you go without laughing? Jeez.
Marie Schumacher.
I just have a few questions. Gary, I see that we have a Cosmo Drive, street, and we have a Munchak Street Drive, at the high school. Now, I'm asking if we have one for Spindler. He's a football player, and he was better than Munchak. And he played better than Munchak. And he was from Scranton. And he should be recognized.
He's very deserving, Ray, and possibly someday you will see him honored
But
over
I'm
at West
asking him.
Scranton.
I'm asking the consul, and he should be given. He's been retired for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And Munchak is just retired just recently, and they just gave it to him. And I don't think that's right.
I think maybe one big reason why Mr. Munchak was honored is because he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Ray. And
I know, but
very well
Spindler, he played football too.
You know.
And he was from this area too, and he should be given a street.
Okay.
You could rename Lackawanna Avenue, Spindler Avenue. You could dedicate it and say Raymond Lyman named it after him.
I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens over at West Scranton High School someday, Ray.
Well, you should.
Absolutely.
I mean, that should be named after the guy. I mean, my God, he played football. It's an honor, and it should be named after this guy. You're robbing the guy. You gave it to Cosmo and you gave it to Munchak.
Yeah.
My God, if I was playing football, how would you feel? If I was in a professional football player and I was robbed like that, and I was in the NFL, and I was, let's say, if I was in the Eagles, won the Super Bowl and that.
If you were on the Eagles, we would definitely name a street after you, Ray.
Yeah. And I won the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be here in Scranton. That's one thing.
I'd do that tomorrow.
Now, I have another thing. Now, I don't want you hollering or stomping on your thing or nothing. But a few years ago, the former city council took our right to, they wouldn't let us speak. And Bolus went to court to Judge Menorah. And the Sunshine Act, and we got it back. And now Dixon City's doing the same thing down there. Not Dixon City, Doherty. And now like I said, now they have to do the same thing. Now I said, now they're feeling what we're feeling, what the former city council were doing. Now I said to them, now you know how stooges are the former city council was. They took these people's right to vote. They had a police officer. They eliminated and they hired 5 garbage workers and they deputized them. Yeah. That's like if Mayor Doherty eliminated 5 police officers in Scranton and hired 5 DPW workers and hired them as cops. And let's say if let's say three council member okayed this, and 2 went against it.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that.
That would be.
Thank you.
Raymond Lyman. In the United States, all people are created equal, but not in the city of Scranton. Scranton is like Berlin under Hitler. The mayor and city council do not answer the people's questions. City council fights and laughs at us. Scranton Times calls us names, but the mayor and city council do not allow children to swim for free. I believe all people and religion and freedom and justice for all. I have a question for the Scranton firefighters. Now that the Dunmore fire truck is crashed and damaged, are the Scranton firemen getting paid to go up there now because of the fires that they're having up? The fires that they're going to have up there in Dunmore. Are we going to get paid for that, the Scranton Fire Department? Since they have a fire department up there in Dunmore? Since they got 2 fire trucks? That's a question, Mrs. Catelli.
Mr. Courtwright, do you know that answer? It's your committee.
I believe, Ray, we have a reciprocal agreement with Borough of Dunmore.
I know that because I try to talk to the chief. He won't give me an answer. Maybe Dave Javazzi can answer since he's here.
I just gave you the answer. I believe we have a reciprocal agreement with the Borough of Dunmore.
Yeah, but I want to know how much money we're going to get back from them.
I don't know how else to explain it to you, Ray. How about this? If we have a problem in the city of Scranton where we run short, if there's a general...
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Okay. Now I have one more thing. Now that if the people come up here for rights and our rights get violated and we're being treated like fools, maybe the city council should go to anger management. Because we're not the ones that are angry on this side. It's you guys. You should learn that we elect you. You don't elect us. And we can vote you out. In the same way with this mayor. I mean, giving him another $1 million is like giving a cocaine addict. I mean, this mayor doesn't know how to run anything. I mean, I wouldn't trust Chris Doherty with a $5 bill. I wouldn't give him a dime. And that might be my opinion. And everybody has opinion. I mean, that's just the truth in my eyes. I wouldn't trust Chris Doherty with a dime. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Dudek.
Raymond Lyman. And I'm here to talk about the history of Scranton. And did you know that Scranton was originally called Razorville and Slocum's Hollow? And it's 162 years old this year. And I was thinking that we should have like a party for the city. You remember last week, Kevin, you told me to tell you guys about it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. I had realized that Scranton was once known as Slocum Hollow.
Yeah, but I also discovered here in the book, there's like Deep Hollow in 1788 by Philip Abbott, Unionville in 1794 by the Slocums, then Slocum Hollow in 1816 was honored by the Slocums, and then it was the Iron Works was honored by the iron furnaces of 1840s. Then Harrisonville was named after 1841 by William Harrison, who was the president, who was a candidate who later became president. And in 1850, it was named Scranton, and in 1851, it was then named Scranton. And then it was incorporated in 1866. But it was founded in 1840. And I was thinking that you should have some kind of party for it, you know what I mean? Like you and the mayor, and like some kind of have like a little parade or something, like you have for St. Patrick's Day. and you have for the Easter parade, like for the Christmas parade, you should have something for Scranton.
We'll have to direct that down to the mayor.
Yeah,
I appreciate
this is history.
your research.
This is history. I mean, Wilkes-Barre, I heard that they're having a party, because I saw it on 44.
I think what might be a good idea, every year we have the music festival at Naog, and it's been ongoing now for the past decade at least.
Oh yeah, but
and
the music fair. But
I think we should celebrate
that's
this as well.
compared to, like, teaching these kids what history is.
Okay.
No, to possibly incorporate your ideas into
like
that.
having a
would be a
party.
good
You know,
idea.
like you remember when Jimmy Connors had that week with the bands, and they had the rides.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. That's what I was referring to
Yeah.
at Naog.
Yeah, because they sit in here, Naog. Originally Naog was called the Sternberg Line. They had, like, Gettysburg was named from John Getty, who bought the land. I mean, some of this stuff, we don't know. Like, no one knew about this because it's all long forgotten. Capellas Avenue was named after an Indian chief. Did you know that?
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, Capellas Avenue was named after a Capuchin Indian chief.
Ray, if I can,
that's
brother.
something
Absolutely.
interesting.
Ray, it may be possible that Channel 61 would have an interest in putting on some kind of history
that would be
program.
Something great for American. I mean, we studied American history. I mean, I was looking at it. They wouldn't let me take the reference books out.
Oh.
But I got, like, this one. But I was reading some of the interesting historical.
I think it's nice that you took the time out to research the history of our
Especially
city.
the history of this city. I mean, like they sit here. I just want to say just one more thing here. Wait a minute, I just want to say, in 1840, there were only 500 houses when this city was founded. 500 houses. In 1866, when this city was incorporated, 30,000 houses were built. In 1910, 130,000 houses were here. That's a lot of people that lived here.
It certainly is.
I mean, that is history.
You have 1 minute left, sir.
I mean, that is a lot. You know what I mean? And I was thinking we might.
Excuse me, sir.
I think he's got to go, Kevin. I think he's.
Pardon me, Ray. You still have your time. Don't worry about that outburst. If there's another outburst like that, sir, you'll have to be asked to be removed. Please continue.
I was thinking, we get like a plaque, a plaque with the original names of Razorville and Slocum's Hollow, and put it at Naog and remember it for the names of the people who founded it.
Yeah, that's something that they may even be interested in with the museum.
You guys and dedicated it.
Yeah.
I like to be there to do it. To be there with you guys to dedicate it. I like to see that.
Thank you,
I
Ray.
like to be there and see that because that's our history. That's our heritage. I mean, that's part of our life. I mean, think about it. I mean, we won't be here when the 200th birthday will come.
Your time is up, Mr. Lyman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I got this letter today in the mail. Now, this came from Senator Mello, Konjarsky, Mike Washoe. It came from Paul Konjarsky and Terry Nariani, and also from all these other Democrats, and also from Bill Scranton, a Republican, all supporting Chris Doherty. And I actually wrote to Senator Mello because I was at Gianetti when Senator Mello said, and I'll quote this, that he'll do his best to shut these meetings down of City Council.
No, Ray, we spoke,
I know
we
Mr.
spoke to
Poach
his
got a
office,
letter.
and he said he was not interested.
He lied
in
to
it.
you.
But no, you can't say that. You
He
can't.
lied to you. I was there with senior citizens, and he said that he'll shut this down.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Ray.
Oh, he said it.
But you can't
Ray,
say
you got to
that.
go to another topic.
Now I'll go to another topic. I wrote a letter to him. I don't know when he's going to write back to me, but I wrote a letter to him. Why 61 is only running this Sunday. 61 gave me some kind of bullshit excuse.
Oh, okay. All right. You got to sit down, Ray. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry for using that word.
No, come back next week and maybe we'll let you
But they
start
gave
over
me an
again.
excuse. Raymond Lyman, citizen.
What is your name, sir?
Raymond Lyman, citizen.
Okay.
I have a problem in Pine Brook. I have a sewer drainage ditch that's cracked by the sewer line. It's cracked like this by the manhole, and I'm afraid that little children will fall through it.
Where is that, Raymond?
The 300 block of Phelps Street on Lord's Court.
300 block of Phelps on North Court?
Yeah. You know where Capels Avenue is?
Yes.
And you know where Wyoming Avenue is? Where the old waffle shop diner is?
Yes.
You go down that way, and Lord's Court is here, and drainage is here. And it's cracked in half like this, and I'm afraid the little kids.
Okay.
I told Jimmy Connors, I told Rocky, what's his name?
Well, that really doesn't matter at this point, but we want to try to help you out.
I told Doherty today, he was at the association meeting today up at John Adams, and he told me to come down here to tell you. And he said that you will do something about it.
Yeah. Mr. Wintermantle, please forward Ray's comments down to
I got a question to ask you.
the city engineer. Okay, one moment, please.
Okay.
I don't want to lose my train of thought.
Okay.
If you could send his comments down to our city engineer and have him review the situation and at least put an emphasis on that letter that we put up some type of safety precaution around that area to make sure that no one is injured. Continue, please.
Yeah, and I have a question to ask you. I was thinking a way you guys can make money for the city. Here's an idea for you guys to make money. You know that conference center and hotel you're building? Why don't you put a little casino in there?
The state has to pass laws pertaining to gambling.
Well, I mean, you could put slot machines in there. That's legal in the state of Pennsylvania.
No, it's not.
Or bingo. Bingo is loud.
Okay.
If you ever see on the reservations, they make a lot of money on bingo. I seen it. I went to bingo, I went in Connecticut, and I seen those big bingo places. They make lots of money, and you guys can make a lot of money off that.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your
And then,
input.
you know what, there's another question. You know the hospitals? You can make a lot of money off, you can make a lot of money off that if you put parking meters all over around the hospitals and charge them. And that's the end of them taking free spaces for the people who live there. Because I see people who can't get there. Because I have an aunt who lives up there, and she had to park some like 6 or 8 blocks away, and she's about 70-some years old. You know what I mean, Chris? 70-some years old. And she have to walk about 6 or 7 blocks to walk to her house. And I think that would be a better idea, especially around the Mercy, the CMC, and that'll be the end of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, 5E, Ms. Catelli. What was the prior ordinance on 5E?
I don't have that with me.
Well, then give it to me next week. Or table this. Table this for until we can find out the full information on this. And then 5D, you're saying this is $325,000. Since the DPW wasn't out there piling the snow where I lived, the snow was never plowed, and an ambulance was trapped on my street, and people had to push the ambulance because the lady had a heart attack. So I don't think this should be paid. This should be tabled. And I want to know what kind of rental vehicles these were. That's kind of suspicious. I want to know what that is. The only vehicles I saw well, after this Valentine snowstorm was the small DPW plows that we have. I didn't see anything else. I didn't see the big ones like PennDOT has. The only ones I saw were the ones that Sammy Vitchers drives. So, if we should get George Parker down here and let the people ask him questions, and I want all information from not just this bill, but other bills. And I want to see who are these rented vehicles and equipment. Because there was no other DPW equipment, only our equipment was out. And they never plowed my street. Only the plow guy from where the printer, he plowed our street, and it wasn't the city. Now, 6B about that bank, is he going to pay the city to take that whole street and the other part of that block? Or are we giving that away like we're giving everything else away? I mean, banks are worth millions of dollars. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, giving one whole part of a street away and the other block away. We should get paid a couple of $1 million. I mean, a bank is worth millions. I mean, land's worth millions of dollars, in my opinion. You don't give something away. We gave one part of land $1 away for 98 years. It's kind of ridiculous. This should be tabled, 6B. That should be tabled. I mean, people are losing their parking spaces. I saw a zoning meeting, and people are crying about parking.
3 minutes.
But
thank you.
This should be tabled. And I want to see you, Mr. Cartwright, table this. And don't back down like you did.
Thank you.
At secret
Mr.
meetings.
Spindler?
Raymond Lyman. You know, I was hearing about you talk about the recycling. Did you know there's a place called Mirtec? It's a place in California that deals with recyclables. They could give you grants, and they could give you, they could give you the stuff what you need. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I don't know which one of you are in charge of the recycling. Which councilman is in charge of that?
I have the Public Works Committee.
Oh, you in charge?
But I'm not sure if the Don Davis down at Department of Public Works may be aware of the company you're talking about.
This company, because they dealt with Wilkes-Barre, because a friend of mine, he works for the DPW in Wilkes-Barre, and they got $25,000 from that.
What was the name of that firm?
Midtech. It's from California, Sacramento.
Midtech. I'll find out if Don Davis
I don't know what their website
is aware of
address,
that.
but once you could deal with them, the only thing you have to do is you advertise. You have to have their advertisement on their, they'll give you their, like the containers with their name on it. But that don't matter.
Well,
you know that? They'll cover the whole city.
Yeah, we'll look into that, Ray.
I mean, that would be good. And Brian, I was wondering, what about those beat cops, the bicycle patrol? When are they going to come back? The new ones?
Well, we stated a few weeks ago that we have, I believe, 5 officers that are still in training in school. We're waiting for them to complete their classes. We were being told by the chief that we should be able to see those police officers on the street probably within 3 weeks, and then, of course, it'll be up to the administration as to where they want to assign those officers.
Because Uncle Earl wanted to know.
But they have to complete their classwork first,
Yeah.
and then they'll get assigned.
Yeah, because he wants one down in Pinebrook.
Ray.
What?
Okay.
During motions tonight, I was going to ask for an update from the police chief on the status of the bike patrols.
Yeah,
so if we can, Jim, could you please send a letter down to Chief Elliott, asking what the status of the bike patrols
Yes, I'll take that.
is, and find out when the training will be over, and when the citizens could expect to see them back on the streets. There's a lot of money invested in
Yeah, I
bicycles
mean,
from different neighborhood
You
associations.
still get the bikes,
civic
don't you?
organizations.
You
Yeah,
still
we're-
get the bikes, don't you?
Yeah, we're going to check on that.
Got the bikes for the last bike patrol, don't you?
Yeah, the bikes stay.
But the bikes were purchased, most of the bikes were
And you're going to get
purchased
newer ones. You're going to get more of them, ain't you? More bikes?
from neighborhood groups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we're
got
gonna
to
check.
realize the bike is only $1,200, but the person who rides it is $32,000.
Yeah, I mean, but
So you got to realize and put that in perspective.
yeah, but I mean, you still got the bikes from the last ones.
Yeah, they stay.
Yeah.
Provided that we have an officer that can ride the bike.
I mean, but they're
and
locked
is
up
assigned to
somewhere. They're
bicycle.
locked up somewhere and safe.
Well, I think what the president asked for is where we're headed. We need to get some
I mean, at
affirmative
least check
answers.
to see if they're not stolen. You know what I mean?
No, we know where the bikes are.
You know what I mean, Brian?
We'll give you an update on
We
that.
went
as
through
soon as
that
we
with
get a response.
motorcycles.
Because don't let it kid you, Brian. Brian, don't let it kid you. Because I watched an episode on Cops in California. They broke into the police thing, and the crooks went in there and stole the police bikes.
You have 1 minute left, Ray.
They took the bikes right out, and the cops were right there to grab them. It was so funny. And I was wondering about that manhole. Are they gonna do anything about that? They were out there 2 weeks ago to look at it, but they didn't come back to fix it yet. That sewer drain?
Mr. Wintermantle, you had that correspondence sent where? The DPW or the Scranton Sewer Authority?
It was sent to DPW.
Okay, we'll
And
need
they
to
were
get...
CC'd. I
The
believe the
hole
sewer
is
authority was
this big
CC'd.
now. I cleaned it out so the water could go in. So when we had that heavy rain, because we had a lot of the leaves and it blocked it up, and I busted it through so the water could go down, because that's like the only drain we have there. And if we don't clean it out, it'll flood the whole area. You know what I mean, Brian? But what scares me is that a little kid could slide through there.
Why don't we have Mr. Wintermantle follow up on
Yeah.
that first thing in the morning?
And that's like that's all that I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Go ahead, Mr. Lyman.
Raymond Lyman. I want to talk about the snowstorm. I have some problems on Phelps Street. The problem because of the snow was because of the stop signs. They're blocked on the down by the Avenue restaurant. The snow blocked the signs, the stop signs, and then up by on the front of Phelps Street by my house, by the printer. You know where I'm talking about. That stop sign too is blocked by snow. The DPW never came down on our street, and we're paying taxes, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. And I'm not going to pay any taxes until that's done. And that's one thing. Number two is the DPW signed their contract and they got a $1,500 bonus. And my question is, why wasn't the snow not plowed? Not only my street, but all these other courts and alleys. And each one of these DPW workers got $1,500 signed on contract. And each one of them, but yet the firemen and police and clerical workers never got their contracts signed. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Now, this wasn't the blizzard of '93. This was just a small snowstorm. And yet, in the Scranton Times on 22 and 28, George Parker and Chris Doherty said all the roads were passable. It's a crying shame. And yet, I'm asking tonight, I want a federal investigation done by the federal attorney general for an investigation done. And I want the state to investigate why the incompetence of this mayor, this city council, and his cabinet, why this wasn't done. Since the state is doing it with PennDOT, I want heads to roll. We had a medical emergency happened on my street when that Tuesday a woman had an ambulance was stuck in the road. 5 men pushed the ambulance to get it off the ice. And I think it's ridiculous. And when we had cars that were trapped on the road, and not a plow came, a printer had to use his plow to put, to plow the street for us on a Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Lyman.
And I think it's kind of ridiculous.
Thank you.
Now, I have...
Your time is up, Mr. Lyman.
I got one more question.
No, we have a lot of people here, and I have to stick to the rules.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Raymond Lyman. Last week, I went down to the Rosenbrino pool, and I tried to purchase one of those $50 swim passes, and I was denied. And Barbara Marinucci's friend told me, because she told the 2 guys that I was denied because I had a big mouth. She told those 2 guys, that's why. Don't let him get it. And she said, and then she chased him out. That's what she told those guys, chase me out. And I have it on videotape. My friend videotaped it.
Ray, are people able to buy season swim passes at the pools?
Yes.
They are?
Yes.
Oh, I thought the public had to report to Weston Field and...
They were buying it down there.
Picture taken and...
Then I went down...
You sure they weren't just paying $1 to swim down there?
Well, I was down there, and I had the money, and people were paying it.
The season fee.
The $50 passes.
Hold on one second, Ray. Mr. Saunders, do you have a comment?
I got other stuff. Wait a minute, Jared. Wait, I got more.
Wait a minute, I want Mr. Saunders.
I got more to this. Now listen.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to come back to you.
Mr. DeVillio, I spoke to Bob Scopoletti about the situation. He said that Weston Field is where they're supposed to go for the season pass. I had received a call from Mr. Lyman about this, so I in turn called Mr. Scopoletti about it. He said he would not deny Mr. Lyman of the pass. So I told Ray to go down there. Ray went down there, and I guess something else happened.
Yes.
With it. And now this may be at Weston Field. Did you go to Weston Field?
No, I went back to Rosenbrino. The second time I went down there, they told me if I go back down there, I'll be arrested. And then they threatened me that.
Well, Ray, you got to go to Weston Field, buddy. You got to go down to Weston Field. That's where they're selling them at. They're not selling them at the Rosenbrino pool.
They are selling it there.
No, Ray, are you sure?
Now listen to this. Then that same Thursday where I was denied the first time, I went down to the neighborhood center. I called them up first, and they said I was eligible to the United Neighborhood Center for that, and then they told me I was eligible. And then I stood in line for an hour and a half. By the time I got in there, I was denied.
Maybe we can ask, is there somehow we can ask Mr. Scopoletti to get with Mr. Lyman? Is that possible? Maybe we can help him out?
And then I called I called the mayor's office, and that same day, the mayor called me back, and he said that I was supposed to get a pass.
The mayor called you?
Well, someone called me back saying he was the mayor. And on my caller ID, it was of the City Hall.
All right.
I'll give you the phone number, the same of the City Hall's number. It's on my caller ID's number.
Ray, we'll make sure that you get a season pass for the swimming.
How about we look into it?
Take care of that for you.
Right?
Jay, make sure that Raymond gets a season pass for the pools. Okay? We'll take care of it for you.
But Gary, do you mean a season pass or a free pass?
Well, I think the free passes are for underprivileged children.
If he qualifies,
Children, senior citizens aren't eligible?
I don't know about that.
We'll check with United Neighborhood Centers and see what Ray is eligible for. If he's eligible for a free pass, that's what we want him to have.
Right. Ray, if you call me tomorrow in the office, I will have talked to Mr. Scopoletti by then and set this all up for you, as we did.
Because I don't want to go back there and be humiliated again.
Yeah, don't go back over there. We'll take care of it for you, Ray.
That or Western Field. I'm not going to go back over there and be humiliated. I'm not going to have them cursing at me and being hollered again.
No one's going to curse at you, Ray.
Yes, they did.
All right, well, it's not going to happen again because we're going to deal right through City Council's office, and Mr. Saunders will handle that for
The
you.
lawyer said he had the videotape and he will take it to the ACLU.
Okay. Hopefully we won't have to go that route. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it.